You have, just a few days back, you granted, or you had a media parley where you talked about the fact that the president was best suited in terms of tackling some of the pressing issues facing Nigeria and Nigerians currently, especially in the area of the economy and security. I'll go first to his handling of the subsidy removal, which has come under, in some aspects, praises, in some instances, criticisms, especially with regards to the effect on the ordinary Nigerian. What's your view on how his announcement in his inaugural speech has impacted the lives of Nigerians following subsidy removal?
Thank you very much. First thing first, I don't think the president is to be blamed for that announcement. To the extent that, as you are probably aware, by virtue of the last budget, the subsidy is no longer there. And just a while ago, I was listening to Mele Kyari, who also clearly explained that budget is different from cash backing, that in truth and indeed, the budget says that there is support until the end of this month. But the fact of the case is that it's not cash backed. The budget is, yes, is law, it's an instrument. But of course, we all know that most of the time in this country, people hardly achieve even 50, 60% of budgetary provisions. I think what the president has done is to, as it were, kick the ground running by saying clearly that we shouldn't expect anything in terms of continuous subsidy. The other thing that I want our people to appreciate is that everybody in the last God knows how many years have come to the conclusion that the subsidy was not sustainable. But nobody was bold enough, and even the outgoing president said, okay, to go after he has left. And somebody has come and said, let's stop deceiving ourselves. One thing that I have noticed, which many people have not spoken about, is that the biggest problem about the subsidy is that we're just not subsidizing Nigeria, we're subsidizing West Africa. And I do not see how it can be sustainable anyway. And if there are no ways, the borders are open, if there are no way of ensuring that the subsidy remains within the shore of Nigeria, which is also part of the problem of smuggling, then clearly we can't continue to subsidize the entire West African sub-region. We don't have such capacity. And I think Mele Kyari has also said that, let's put it this way, Nigeria is broke. Let's just be straightforward about it. I do not think that there is any magic. We expect the president who was just sworn in a few days ago. So he has just stated it the way it is. But I think the biggest issue is how to ameliorate the negative effects. Absolutely. And that is what we should just, advise, the presidency to find a way of addressing.
Do you have any advice? Your expectations from the president? In previous interviews, you have expressed very high hopes for his ability to be innovative, to tackle some of the biggest issues that are facing Nigeria currently. You talk about uniting Nigeria. You talk about security challenges, and you're confident that President Tinubu has what it takes to decisively deal with these issues. I want us to start first of all with uniting Nigeria. Yesterday, we had Mr. Olisa Agbakuba on the show, and he spoke to these matters. But I'd like to get from your view in terms of how the president can begin to unite the nation and also deal with security challenges.
Well, first thing first, the reason why I feel the President Tinubu have such capacities, among other things, is because that he's been around for some time. If I remember, I met him when he wanted to run for Senate, there about 1991. During that, I think that's probably how many years now. And consistently, he has remained active. And of course, in the last few years, he has also virtually become a national figure of some sort. And if there is one person or one of the few people that I think duly understand the problem of Nigeria, he's Bola Ahmed Tinubu as an active politician. From that perspective, I don't expect anything less from him. And from the rumor mills that we're already getting, I've had all sorts of meetings that have gone out of his way to look at people who have fundamental differences to the polity. I've heard about meeting with Radical Kwakwaso. You know how Kano politics is. And I've had quite a number of things that are going on, and I won't be shocked if at the end of the day, in terms of formulation of his cabinet, you see that rainbow coalition of sorts, which is actually aimed at uniting the polity. But I also want us to say that poverty has no color. If he gets his economic parameters right, and we are in a position to provide just for our people, that really is the key. You'll find out that everybody will get busy. One of the things that have excited me is a few weeks ago when I heard that oil is now being explored in commercial quantity in certain parts of the north. Because either a number of people feel that, oh, this is where the wealth is, and to that extent we have rights which are not being duly accorded to us. If we do have a country as we do have today, where virtually everywhere have something to put on the table, this issue of taking the resource from here to develop here, which has been part of the problem that has continued to unite us, the reason for all the agitations we're having in the south-south to the southeast, if we're able to remove that by economic planning, to some extent, you just find that the temperature is going down. My own feeling really is that all this hula baloo is about economic emancipation. Either from the angle of the young people, from the women, it's all about economy. And I think that if there is somebody who can get the economy right today, it's probably Bola Tinubu.
Okay, let me jump quickly because we have very little time. Let me jump to the Senate.
Little time? I thought you were going to harass me well today.
We don't have all the time. The show will end at the usual time. So let me ask you, number one, the first question that a lot of Nigerians, and I engage with Nigerians, especially the young ones online, and the question that they've been asking is, oh, you have the former governor of Ogun State who's now senator-elect, and there are so many other former governors who have become senator-elect, and some of them are already there as senators, and they're going back for second term. They're asking the question, why do you and all your colleagues who have been governors, why do they want to go to the Senate? What is it they did in government before that make them to want to still continue in government? That's one. And then the second one is the issue of salaries and bonuses and benefits that is accrual to those who become members of the National Assembly. There is this concern that the amount of money budgeted for the National Assembly, do you think it should be reduced in considering the level of poverty of a lot of Nigerians, 130 million by some people, possibly over 100 million poverty-stricken Nigerians, and the National Assembly is still having budget that is massive?
Well, first, on the issue of governors wanting to go into the National Assembly, you can probably say that I'm a kind of exception. I left governance 12 years ago, and a lot of those 12 years, even though I wasn't particularly absent in the polity, I've done some other things with my business and so on and so forth. But sometimes it's about you sitting down and saying, what has happened? And do you want to carry all this experience to the grave, or you still want to try to offer something? That's for me what really it is. Now, coming about what is being the allowances in the National Assembly, I must confess to you, I was one of the people who feel that whatever it is, it should be scaled down. But let us also be careful. Whereas the primary duty of the National Assembly is to go and make laws, amend laws for the general good of the people, but the expectation of the people down there are completely different. These days, they now begin to evaluate National Assembly members in terms of the project they bring home, what they have been able to, how many people they've been able to employ, how many people have they been able to privately support, how many people have they been able to give scholarship to. Partly that is because the way it is, the executive, in all their energy, have not been able to touch the grassroots to a large extent. So to the ordinary man on the streets, okay, this one is governor, okay, he's doing 10 things. You are a senator. If you can't do 10, why don't you do 3 or 4? So what I have found out in my interaction with my colleagues is that to a very large extent, these so-called humongous bonuses and salaries that are getting, they are not the ones spending it.
Okay.
A large number of that goes back to the constituency, where some of them are awarding scholarship, Medicare, all sorts of things are going on. So, except and when we're able to tailor this situation correctly, I really do not think that, what we're talking about holds so much water. Yes?
2 quick fire questions. Number one, you're leader of the Remo Christians. In a scenario where Mr. Yari emerged Senate president, you have the president, the vice president, and the Senate president all Muslims. What will that mean to you? Secondly, what's your relationship with Governor Dakwa Abiodun as we speak today?
First, I've spoken about a religious factor. If I have my way, I would like to see a lot of balancing going on there. But again, there are so many other factors. I don't want to begin to waste your time because I also listen to what are the issues. At the end of the day, what you are looking for is a stable polity in all ramifications, and I just want to leave it at that. It's my governor. There is nothing unusual about our relationship.
Your friendship and your alliances with people like Mr. Amosun and co.
No,
in the last
I think a number of people got it all wrong.
Are you sure you're in good terms?
With my governor?
Yeah.
Did he tell you otherwise?
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking because of those alliances, and you know where he is with Amosun now.
Look, Amosun has not been my friend. He was one of the people who actually harassed me when I was out of government.
But you formed an alliance with him.
It wasn't an alliance, but at a stage, you begin to sit back and you say, what is it all about? I then came to the conclusion that there's no need for all these wars.
So you said it's not your friend, but he's your friend now. Amosun is your friend now.
I've resolved issues with everybody. Listen to me. When Kashaman was alive, he publicly said that he spent 3 billion naira to destabilize my government. What for? There are no personal issues. At the end of the day, I was happy. God saved his soul. I resolved with him before he died. So and that is what I've done with everybody. Amosu, Osho. The same thing with Oshoba. I defeated Oshoba in 2003. And you know how it is, how strong and powerful Oshoba was as a governor. For a rookie like me to come from nowhere and take him out massively, it was war. And for the last few years, it was war. We just managed things. But one fine day I sat down and said, what is this all about? What am I fighting for? No more wars. So, Oshoba, what's the problem? You want to lead the party? You are the leader. Amos, what's the wahala? No problems. You've done your wars. You've taken me to FCC. God has delivered me. No more wars. Therefore, you are most welcome. He used to be Amos's best friend. Now Amos turned against him and he came to me for support. Okay, no more wars. I support you.
So you feel that Kwabena is cool with your new alliance and relationship with Amos?
No, he cannot. And because let me tell you this, I don't know as a matter of fact that he's looking for ways of resolving with him as well. So why do you want me to be fighting the person that I know I'm aware from my vantage position that if there is an opportunity to sit the two of you down to resolve, you are ready to resolve? Why should I fight him?
So that Kwabena is ready to resolve with Amos now?
I'm telling you that from my vantage position, I'm aware. Don't forget, I'm also another statesman in Ogun State today. And there's something that's going on in any corner that I'm not aware of. So the point I'm trying to make is that you get to a stage in life and you begin to ask yourself, have I taken their wives or girlfriend? No. Have I stolen public funds? No. About ego, you are bigger, you have great potential, let me cut you down, all of that. I've gone beyond it. And I've come to the conclusion that where God wants to take you, will take you, notwithstanding whatever anybody say. So my position, and I also had to do that because I came into the party. And I felt that, look, part of the challenge we must have here is that we must not allow these little things to destroy the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to install the president. So if there are issues, those ones are small issues. And it's inevitable. You know, somebody who is governor, he wants to show that he's governor, fine. You know, but you can't also take away my contribution to the state. So I'm standing where I am. Yeah. But I'm not going to personalize.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Are you happy?